Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy, once again, HMK, here with a very special episode of The Fifth Dimension, in which we are joined by amazing members of the Zelda community. Let me go out and list them one by one. Here we have, for the first time on The Fifth Dimension, we have Forrest Minish. How are you doing today?
Hi, thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm so excited to be here and talk about Zelda and all of the exciting stuff happening.
Oh, we love that excitement. We love the new blood. We love new members of the Fifth Dimension. And then, going off the rails with everyone else here who's been here before, we've got Mr. Commonwealth Realm. How are you doing today, Conrad?
Doing very well. Hype, because we have more Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 news. Still not the title, and that's the only gripe I still have with this.
We're going to talk about that. It's not that bad of a gripe, right? We're going to talk about that. Going off the rails here, we also have Masked Nintendo Bandit. Yo, tell me about that video you were editing today.
Yo, it's gonna be like, you know, a Breath of the Wild 2 video. Go figure.
Oh, wait, you're not going to make
exciting.
a video on Scrimblow Bimblow's Revenge?
Not presently. That's the next video, after the Metroid one.
I'm gonna start making Metroid content, man. We're gonna be talking
Dude,
about that
should.
too. Let's
do a video together, man.
Let's go. I'm down. All right, you guys heard it here first. All right, continuing forward, we've got our boy Monster Maze. How are you doing? I'm glad you're here.
I'm doing very well. I rated your stream, man. There's a lot of people who came from.
Oh, damn! Oh, I didn't even notice, bro. I was so lost in the sauce when I was trying to get. Yo, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, fellow Monster Mazers. How are you doing?
I'm very excited, man. I have so many ideas, but I don't know how to structure it right now.
we all need that, you know, that cooldown period. We all need it. And then, of course, last but not least, representing Zelda Universe, our boy Alex is in the house. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, always, man.
I got stuff to talk about, so let's get to it pretty soon.
Oh, let's just dive right into the spiel and whatnot. So, ladies and gentlemen of the stream and of the chat, yes, we finally got it. Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. We got a release year and we got gameplay. So, the first thing I want to do to get everyone's feet wet when it comes to this conversation and whatnot is let me know your favorite aspect of the announcement that we saw at E3 2021. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Rebecca first, so let's get that noise started.
Oh my gosh, I can only pick one favorite. There were so many things that I thought looked so cool about that trailer. I love that it looked like there were two different links, and I'm sure we'll get into kind of theories about what that might be or what that might mean. But I'm very intrigued by the one link that we saw that looks like he's wearing different clothes. He has longer hair than the blue tunic link that we see. So I really want to know more about that.
Man, we're gonna talk about the two links.
We're gonna
talk about it a lot, but that's a good way to start. All right, Conrad, you're on.
I think I'm going to go in a similar route, but I'm going to say exploring the distant past. Because in Breath of the Wild, we were just exploring a lot of the ancient past. It was the first battle against the Calamity 10,000 years ago. But only creating a champion was hinting towards the ruins from times unknown and the battle of the distant past. And the last hero before the hero of the wild. It's such an incredible feeling that there's been no hero in Hyrule for tens of thousands of years. We have had champions, but not heroes. And that makes me so excited, especially since these two heroes might work together in the sequel.
And what's really cool is that, you know, unlike the original Breath of the Wild, we are finally wearing green again. And I'm like, okay, yo, like, all right, I like blue. It's been cool. Now you're going over back to Metroid again. We're getting our green back in Zelda, so I'm excited to see. And I love that you pointed out that we've had champions, but we haven't had heroes for the longest. And now I think it's time to, you know, get a hero back because I need a hero. So whatever. Master Nintendo Bandit
needs a hero.
Yeah, we all do need a hero. Master Nintendo Bandit, it's up to you now.
So are we discussing the whole distant past thing? Is that one of the topics?
We're gonna get to that, but I want to know what was your favorite part of, you know, the announcement entirely.
Right. So that aside, I'd say the music. Like it was kind of one of those slow hitters because at first, I don't think anybody was really paying attention to it. You know, when you're really just paying attention to the fact that Link is falling from the sky, and you know it's really similar to the Skyward Sword. You know, obviously there's a lot of implications there, but listening to it, I don't know, 200 times I've seen that same trailer now. That music is really really good. So yeah, yeah, I'd say it's probably a tie between that and Link's new going through rocks ability. That was pretty sick.
It's like they're not letting us dive underwater, but they're letting us dive through rock. Yeah, swim through land. Fine, you know, like I was never really one of those people that was like, oh, I need underwater exploration. I kind of don't, but you know, anything underground or above the sky, that's my alley. All right.
I don't like. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say I don't like underwater gameplay in most games, but the Zelda development team always has these really creative puzzles that they just take into fact with the way that you move underwater and stuff. So that's really the only thing that I missed from Breath of the Wild.
Right. I definitely feel that. All right, Monster Maze, what do you think?
Just that first shot, man. When you first see the sky, that was it for me. That's when I lost it. Because it started out very dark. We already kind of knew that some stuff was going to happen with Link's arm, and we see a very brief shot of Ganondorf. That's also, in general, what I loved about this trailer. It was very reminiscent of the 2016 trailer of Breath of the Wild. Because if you remember, the first Breath of the Wild reveal was all cinematics, no gameplay at all.
Right.
And the 2016 one was mostly gameplay, almost no cinematics. So this was it was a great callback to that time.
Definitely. I was just thinking about that before the show started, where I'm like, that's why I really feel that Nintendo's gonna be confident about a 2022 release date, and we're gonna talk about that. And to the point where I'm like, yo, March. I'm like, because the fact that the E3 2016 trailer came out and it showed us the gameplay. The game literally came out not even a year after that trailer came out. So I mean, like, if they're trying to replicate that strategy, I'm definitely down for that. I mean, 5 years after the original release on the Switch, have it released in March once again for 2022. But before we get into more details with that, I want to pass it over to Alex. What was your favorite part of the presentation of the announcement of Breath of the Wild 2 at 2021 E3?
Basically, everyone said all of my things too, but I think what I liked a lot is just like it gave us enough to what to expect from Breath of the Wild 2. Like, saw some new footage, what this is gonna be like in a rough sense, and I guess it's to pinpoint it down. Like, I like whatever's going on with Link's arm. Like, that stuff looks really cool. Like the ability to like use a new version of stasis with his arm, going through objects. That's kind of cool.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Definitely, because when it comes to the identity of Breath of the Wild 2, I've been saying this time and time again, even up until we saw the trailer, was that with the release of the original Breath of the Wild, Nintendo really needs to find a way to make Breath of the Wild 2 stand out when everyone's trying to capitalize on the success of the open air genre that Breath of the Wild introduced, games such as Genshin Impact and Immortals Phoenix Rising, stuff like that. And they introduced their own type of flavor and enhancements to that style of gameplay or that style of game in general. And seeing that, I'm like, okay, what's Nintendo gonna do in order to enhance that gameplay that we saw that all these other guys are trying to replicate? And then here comes the arm with reversal stasis, with swimming through land, with all that. I'm like, with the introduction of the sky in terms of bringing back free falling from Skyward Sword, and it blew me away. So I was a little doubtful to see how Nintendo's gonna expand on the original Breath of the Wild gameplay, considering that all these other games are trying to do the same. But after seeing that trailer, my doubts have been cleared and whatnot. But since everyone's talking about the whole two Links thing, let's just dive right into that one. I do believe that we might be playing as two links, but I want to see around the table of what you guys think how we're gonna do it. You know, I know some of us have already put out theories or whatnot. Some of us haven't. For those who haven't, yo, get on it. Come on, like, what are you guys waiting for? So for this one, I'm actually gonna throw it over to Master Nintendo Ben first. So how do you think we're gonna go around? If you believe we're gonna be playing as 2 links, how do you think we're gonna go about that?
All right, man. I don't. What do you want to talk about now?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, if I mean, you know what? Yeah, I really can't talk about that because I just I'm not one of the people who's on board with that. But I'd imagine that if there was that mechanic there, I don't know, it might work. You know, this wouldn't be the first time that Nintendo has made kind of this parallel universe type swap between realms thing. I mean, Dark World, Twilight Realm, you know, Low Rule.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would imagine it would work something like that, where you would, like, do that little reverse drop thing and, like, go to the skies with Ancient Link and then just jump off the side and, you know, get back on the ground, or something, you know. Not actually jumping off the side.
Why
Maybe.
not?
He has a paraglider, so I guess
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
I'm like, well, why not? Like, I would.
Kind of the whole point of Breath of the Wild. Man.
That was the first thing I did at E3 2016 when I first got my hands on Breath of the Wild. I got out of the Ancient Shrine and I jumped, and it didn't work out. So I'm like, you know, whatever. I did it then. I'll do it now. So Conrad, I saw that you had your hand up. So what do you think about the whole 2-link perspective thing?
Well, the one thing I would like to say straight away is that I don't think the sky is connected to the present time, and is more replacing the shrines. Or, you know, the Sheikah shrines were underground, so the underground was limited.
Right.
And now the underground is going to be more expanded, most likely. The sky is going to be more limited. The sky is going to be puzzle sections, combat trials, and so on, because Link has to go through pretty much the trials that the last hero went through on his path to battle Ganondorf, because the Sheikah were just trying to make something that would prepare him for Ganondorf. This is going to actually make him ready for the battle against Ganondorf. So I just feel like there are 2 options here. Either we are going to play like cosplaying this previous hero using his clothes. He is a part of us after all, with the hand thing and everything. But the other option is, of course, that we are going to do kind of memory stuff. So we are, because those locations in the sky no longer exist. There are even hints to that some of the ruins of those sections have crashed into Hyrule and are left there, remnants of it. So I think that it's either memories, playable memories of the original hero, or that we are just cosplaying and time traveling. So it's one of those 2 options.
Right. I'm definitely in line with the more time travel aspect, because the theory that I had earlier yesterday is that I feel that the sky area, and I was talking about this on my stream yesterday, that the sky area is going to be compartmentalized, that it's part of the world, but it really isn't. Because at various points in the trailers, we can actually see, you know, the sky and there's nothing up there, right? Even in the last shot. So I feel it's going to be one of those situations where from the ground, you cannot see the sky islands, but from the islands, you can see the ground, right? And then the only way you'll get there is by, you know, time traveling, but not really time traveling. Like physically, I feel like you'll time travel mentally and then take on your previous body, your previous self. And whatnot, and then when you're in that past, then you have to wear that green outfit. I really hope that, man, can I say I love that outfit? I really hope we can take that to the surface and whatnot. After I saw that outfit, I'm like, you know what? The upgraded champion's tunic from the first trailer, that was my favorite. And then I saw the green robes. I'm like, dang, that's Nintendo out here with the swingers, man. But before I get off the rails a little bit, I want to throw the ball over to Alex to see if you're down for the 2-link, you know, supposed gameplay, or if not, and if you are, then how do you think they're gonna go about it?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it at all. It's just how does 2 links exactly work? Like, that's the part where I'm trying to like puzzle that piece together in a way. I'm all for it, but like I actually just made up a stupid theory in my head like 5 seconds ago about how that can be a thing. And I'm like, what because you know how there's that green arm that's holding Ganondorf in the underground part of the past two trailers, you know, like on his chest and everything.
Right.
What if that is a Link from 10,000 years ago, and he is spiritually comes back in some physical way, and that's the second Link. I don't know. That's my theory so far, but I have like nothing else at the moment. But I'm up for it. I'm up for it. It's just how does it work? How does it make sense?
All we can do is theorize at this point. You know, a lot of people have different clashing opinions on how it could work, if it could work, and whatnot. So we'll just have to wait and see. Personally, I think it's gonna be a thing. And you know, this is Nintendo we're talking about. You know, we might think it could not work, but then they'll make it work. All right. So speaking of making it work, Dom, how are we gonna make it work?
I personally don't think it's two different links, but if you look at it, like in a way, it also is, because if he's part of us, like Conrad said, if the hand is like its own thing with its own mind, then technically, yeah, we are playing as two different links. It's just they're both in the same body at the same time. But I don't think it's two different people. I think the one that we see in the sky is the Link that we know from Breath of the Wild. I think most of us were mostly thrown off because of the clothing and the hairstyle.
Definitely.
But we already know that clothing changes Link's hairstyle. If you look at the ancient armors, like the helmets, the ones from the Divine Beast helmets,
yeah,
which you can only get through the amiibo. Like his hair is like all the way to like
very
super long.
Very long.
It's just deceptive because of the ponytail. But once it's loose, it's pretty damn long.
Yeah.
But I do think it could very well be a different time period. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, like something just screams ancient to me, especially when we see that golden sky backdrop. Just that screams like, oh, this is back in the day. But then, you know,
yeah.
The one thing that I keep remembering and I keep dialing back that puts a monkey wrench in the whole thing is that 10,000 years ago, how ancient can it be? Because according to the lore of what happened in the Calamity 10,000 years ago, they said that Hyrule was an advanced technological civilization, and I'm like,
nah.
Yeah.
I need to interrupt there.
yeah.
The thing is, we are mixing the ancient battle 10,000 years ago and the battle in the distant past before that again. We don't know when the battle in the distant past happened, when Ganondorf was actually sealed with that arm.
Oh,
that could have been tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, that could be some. I'm specifically talking about, like, you know, the Calamity. And there's a theory that I saw that I expanded on, and I'm sorry, Rebecca, we're gonna get right to you, but I just want to get this one out of the way. Is that what if the untold story of, you know, the hero from 10,000 years ago with the battle against Calamity Ganon, that Zelda and Link of that era had to beat back Calamity Ganon? What if, like, you know, Calamity Ganon is literally just an outsourced avatar from Ganondorf, right? And they literally beat the Calamity back into his body. And that's the history we know. The untold history that could possibly, that is unknown, that we're going to find out in Breath of the Wild 2, is that there was a way bigger sacrifice needed in order to, like, put a lid on it for this amount of years, and that, you know, that hero had to sacrifice his life and then become the hand in order to, you know, basically act as, you know, the seal on Ganondorf's body. But there's, you know, that's just, you know, trying to connect the dots a little bit. I'm probably going to try and hash that out, if anything, if that can make sense. But speaking of two links, Rebecca, what do you think about that possibility, and how do you think they're going to go about it?
Oh man, I keep going back and forth with it, because you're right. On one hand, it could just be a costume or like a hair change or something like that. But what I keep going back to is in the first teaser trailer that we saw, with the hand coming down and kind of sealing Ganondorf with the blue, like the bluish green hand with the gold bracers, is the same one that we see that we think is going to be Link's hand using that power that he gets in the second trailer. So if you go back to the first trailer and look, you can kind of see that hand grabs Link and gives him that power. but then it's either the same one, like it's the same power that hand has. That's why I keep thinking maybe it's like a past version of Link giving it to the present version of Link. We kind of have some weird Back to the Future time travel thing going on here. I keep going back to that. And then the other thing that I keep thinking about as far as the time travel piece of it is at the very end of the trailer that we saw earlier this week with the puddle and the water going up. That could be the way to maybe go back up to like the ancient sky era type mechanic. That could be kind of the like the portal to get there type thing.
And I'm glad that you brought up that that drop of water, because that just screams to me that time manipulation, time travel is going to be one of the biggest things in that game. Seeing like the teardrop go in reverse, and then I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go off the Wild Boy rails and stuff. And I know that Master Nintendo Bandit's gonna appreciate this because he's a Twilight Princess lover, which I am as well. Don't get it twisted. But when I saw that reverse drop, I could not help but think about
literally what I said.
Yeah, the what do you call it? The drop in the
light spirit.
the light springs and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, child timeline. I'm on the child timeline bandwagon. All right, look. There's no way it can happen in the adult timeline. Downfall timeline, I'll give you that, but I'm on the boat for child timeline. But
you got salt on the sides of a mountain, sea salt on the. I'm just drinking Diet Coke. I don't know, man.
Man, like I really like how people go off the rails of that sea salt. Is like it came from an ancient sea that's
salt, bro.
And I'm like, no.
On the side of a mountain, bro. I mean, I don't know. No. But on to the next subject when it comes to Breath of the Wild 2's announcement and whatnot. Let's talk about that 2022 release date. What do you guys think when it comes to that release year? You thinking early 2022, late 2022? When do you think that, and when do we think we'll get a more concise release date, moving forward into this year or maybe even next year? For this one, I want to throw it over to Monster Maze first. So let me know what you think about that.
Well, obviously it could release anytime 2022, but I definitely agree with what you said before, that March is definitely not off the table. Because I think the biggest reason why people said that initially is because, well, at least in 2016 they revealed the title. But we recently had an interview with Bill Trinan. I'm pretty sure you know exactly which interview I found it through your Twitter, actually.
Yeah.
He specifically says, like, with Breath of the Wild, it was no problem to show the title because it was a very abstract name.
Yeah, it's like, what's a Breath of the Wild? What is that? And they say it like once in the DLC.
It doesn't spoil anything story-wise, but he said specifically the title of this name will reveal too much about the story. So I'm thinking they might reveal the name like maybe a few months before release, like the equivalent of the 2017 trailer for Breath of the Wild.
Right.
That they're probably gonna do a late title release. So yeah, I'm definitely on board for March still as of right now. And he also said that they would show the game in the coming months more. So no more 2-year waits, guys. Thank God.
I feel like it's gonna be good, and I see a lot of people in the chat already saying that, oh, what if it gets delayed? What if it gets delayed and whatnot, and that they're aiming for 2022. And I definitely get that sentiment because this is a Zelda game we're talking about. But
yeah.
I feel that, with the Nintendo Switch and with the people in charge over at Nintendo right now, I feel they're more comfortable in the groove of being comfortable with showing off something that they know is going to release within the year of showing off a specific trailer or a specific, glimpse into the game. They did it with Splatoon 2, they did it with Super Mario Odyssey, they did it with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and whatnot. And Ionuma said that, we're like, Ionuma and Doug Basser, before they showed off the gameplay, they said that they'll show it once they're comfortable and confident that they have something to show you. And unlike that Legends Arceus trailer, which looked very rough, this game in motion does not look rough at all. So I feel that this game is a lot way farther in development than a lot of people give it credit for, and that sure, the aiming for 2022 sounds a little bit hanky-panky, but I feel that's, Aonuma just, making sure that he's, dealing with the hand, playing with the hand he's dealt to make sure that he's, like, in the safe zone. But I feel that it's going to come sooner than later when it comes to 2022. But when we're talking about that, Alex, what do you think?
Going off on previous Zelda releases over the past 35 years, my safe bet is November 2022. That's just the holiday time, and that's when you make the most money for a new game release. And it's a safe bet, to be honest. If they're secretly want to like put it out as early as possible within that comfort time of releasing the new game, March is not impossible. But I think a safe bet is November for next year. I don't want it to be delayed, but I can't do anything about that if it happens. So I can see it happening, but I think not March. I think November 22 is a good fine line to release a new Zelda game. So I'm going with that.
I just hope that it is 2022 because I don't think my heart can take 2023 because come on, man, it's a direct sequel, the same assets, engines, overworld to a T. Just give it to me now. I'm about to pull a Vane really quick. But Rebecca, let me throw it over to you. What do you think about the 2022 release here, and when do you think within the year it's going to come out?
Yeah, I agree with Alex on this one because I have lived through games like Twilight Princess getting a, year's delay. Breath of the Wild was supposed to come out in 2014, got delayed to 2015, 2016, eventually released in 2017. So I'm used to the Zelda cycle with it getting delayed even after they've come out with a year. So I'm not holding on to 2022, just being pessimistic. But I think if it does come out in 22, it'll be towards the end of the year. Kind of that holiday slot around November. It would be very nice for it to come out in March. I think there's already some lining up going with a mirror towards 2017 with it coming out in March. We have other games that are coming out like Splatoon, the Mario Rabbids. It's kind of mirroring the releases in 2017. So that would be very nice to fit into March. I hope that does happen.
Definitely. It's just, something tells me that this game truly was meant to come out this year, but then of course, as we all know, the pandemic happened, and then there's a lot of insiders that say that Breath of the Wild 2 was affected the most out of all of Nintendo's internal projects and whatnot. But it's just, I definitely see the idea of like a holiday release because I like out of all the games right now that I know that is coming, none of them seem like a holiday release title other than Breath of the Wild 2, unless Nintendo wants to get hanky-panky with Splatoon 3, which is fair because Splatoon keeps making money, right? So, like, if they decide to make that their holiday release title, especially, like, come on, like a multiplayer, the third entry into the Splatoon lineup, online multiplayer, all that good jazz, I think that would be really cool, but then something tells me that Splatoon might be geared towards a middle summer release and whatnot in order to have months still left in the year in order to do Splatfests. But, like, my gut says that November is definitely safe, and then, Zelda has always, most of the time, released in the November timeframe. But I would just sooner, please. All right, Mass Nintendo Bandit, what do you think about 2022?
January 1.
Ha!
Sorry, I was just trying to pull an answer that nobody else said yet. Maybe January 2. Seems a little hanky-panky,
spicy. Not
No,
one, but two. Okay.
Hope
Not one,
you're
but
right.
two.
Pokemon has no
No.
chance now.
But, I mean, obviously Nintendo does whatever the heck Nintendo feels like doing, including telling us that, like, for instance, the first Breath of the Wild was not going to be a Switch release, and then it ended up being a Switch,
I remember
not
that.
just Switch release, the Switch launch release.
I thought that was, like, the
Anyway,
best thing they would have done. Like, that's honestly, in hindsight, I'm like, I'm glad y'all did that. Like,
No, it was perfect. I mean, the Switch
Do
sales.
you think the Switch Pro? Do you think the Switch Pro could have anything to do with the release date? Or are we gonna go there?
Is that for me or HMK?
We're gonna go there, but I want to let Bandit finish his thoughts, and then I'm gonna go over to Conrad, and then we're gonna talk about Switch Pro because everyone likes talking about the Switch Pro.
I'm gonna put my money on a March release.
Ooh.
Just because that's what I'd like to see happen.
Right.
That or January 1st. But no, realistically, I think that November's probably, like Alex was saying, a holiday release. I mean, it just makes financial sense. Then again, on the other hand, a lot of games aim for that. So,
Right.
And that's another big deal for game companies. Everybody's got a wallet, and there's a limit to your wallet, you know, the amount that's in there, and that's a really nice wallet.
People really
Mr. Alex.
don't understand the concept of disposable income. All right, I see you,
Right.
Alex. People
Yeah,
really
he's just
think
over there
that
casually, just showing it off.
yeah, people really think that, oh man, it doesn't matter if this game, like when like, oh, these two games next to each other, it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, it does matter. Like, people only have so much money during a certain time frame that they can literally spend on leisure. So
Right.
I'm glad you're bringing
Right.
that up.
So, I mean, and that actually is a point towards March, or January 1st, you know, but towards March, you know what I mean? Not only would it be an echo of, obviously, the best-selling Zelda game in history, you know, but it would also kind of ensure that they're alone, you know, at least as alone as they can be. Anyway, that's my 2 or 3 cents there.
No, that's great points all around and whatnot. And then one thing that I do want to bring up before I toss the ball over to Conrad is that if we are playing around with a release date of November of 2022, man, I don't know if I'm down with that, not because of the holiday season, but then that would make Breath of the Wild 2 compete with Starfield. And I'm like, like, listen, everybody has a Switch, but still, like, this is a game that like one of those legendary games that like it's like doesn't really exist. I'm like, yeah, it exists, and apparently it's coming November of next year. But you know, like, it's Zelda. Zelda will be able to compete, but I feel that would be so funny because aside from Breath of the Wild, a lot of the times Zelda games had to compete with Bethesda games in the form of Elder Scrolls. Skyward Sword came out at the same time as Skyrim. Twilight Princess came around the same time as Oblivion and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, we don't have Elder Scrolls 6 yet, but here's Starfield if it's gonna compete with November Breath of the Wild 2. I'm just like, man, like, yo, Bethesda really just can't get off my back when it comes to that. But Conrad, what do you think?
Well, I hope it's March 2022. Mostly because if they have to delay it, then it will be delayed to November 2022 and not to 2023. And the reason why I think so is that I think they want to get this game out for the 5th anniversary of Breath of the Wild. But that's not only the 5th anniversary of Breath of the Wild, it's also the 5th anniversary of Nintendo Switch. So they can really build a very big marketing machine here, beginning from, say, October or September, the next Nintendo Direct. Since if they're going to show it again, sure, do that. And then maybe also reveal the title of the game right there so you can build hype through the holiday season. Let Pokemon Legends Arceus come out. It's going to be another big open world game, so yeah, you need a little bit of space from that one to the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But I think March should be good enough. If it's not in March, then it's going to be at E3 2022, and it's going to launch in November 2022, because they are going to just repeat the same big show they did at 2016. It's not going to be the only game at E3 again, because, well, Nintendo had nothing else because of the Switch coming out, but it's still going to have like a themed booth and a big demo presence if March is not in play. So
Right.
I know we all want to go back to E3 and be able to play Zelda, but that's kind of a compensation if it doesn't come out in March 2022. But that's at least my take on it.
No, it's a very good take and whatnot. And, you know, part of me wants it to not come out in March only because of the potential of going to E3 and, like, getting a shirt, playing the game, taking pictures, all that stuff. Yes, I would love to do that again, because 2016 honestly was like the best E3 I've been to, and that E3 was amazing only because of Breath of the Wild's theme park in that area. And I would love to have that again, and I would love to have more content creators there that weren't able to go there in 2016 and try to, you know, get, yes, so, like, I would love that, but it's like, at what cost, though? Like, I want the game to come out in March, but if it doesn't come out in March, that's the you know, silver lining that I'm like, okay, yo, E3 time again, boys, let's do it. So that's the one thing to look forward to. And another little tangent that I want to go off of when thinking about 2022, I was just thinking about the fact that the big three, Nintendo, Microsoft, and what do you call it, Sony, because wait, Halo Infinite is scheduled for this year, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's supposed to be.
Holiday.
Yes.
Holiday.
Yes, the campaign is coming out later with the multiplayer.
Right. So not counting Halo, because Halo's coming out this year. Next year, 2022, the big three is gonna have three huge games to compete with each other in terms of, I would say, like, you know, game of the year or even the generation. We're going to have Breath of the Wild 2, we're going to have Starfield, and we're going to have God of War Ragnarok, which is going to be...
That's true.
I'm like, yo, those three games going at it next year, yo, 2022 looks pretty spicy.
Gonna be 100%ing it again.
I can already see the guys making Horizon Forbidden West. We gotta put out this game this year, guys.
Exactly.
There's
Like,
no
I mean, considering that Horizon is a PlayStation exclusive, I doubt that they want to try and cannibalize itself with releasing God of War in the same year. So, Conrad's camera kind of kaputted. Yo,
Yeah.
Conrad, you there? Can you hear me? Oh, he's gone. All right.
Oh.
He gone.
Is he
Oh.
back?
I'm back.
All
I'm
right,
back.
And then
Now I can see all of you, even better.
right. So 2022 is gonna be the year. It's gonna be a great year in gaming. But you know, my heart is already set on Zelda, and I feel that Zelda is gonna truly take the cake because we didn't still celebrate the 35th anniversary this year in a way that I think is acceptable. You know, a Game & Watch is only gonna take me so far. You know, so let's talk about the 35th anniversary a little bit and how insiders continue to claim that Twilight Princess HD and Moonwalker HD is still coming to the Switch. And I'm like, but when though? Because I know that Nintendo doesn't want to cannibalize the sales of Skyward Sword HD, which obviously is gonna have implications in Breath of the Wild 2. Like, come on, look at the trailer, right? So with the case of Skyward Sword HD, the relation to Breath of the Wild 2 and Twilight Princess and Moonwalker HD, if it is coming, I feel like it's gonna come next year, and I feel that Zelda is gonna celebrate its 35th anniversary at the end of this year into next year, kind of how like Mario had to do this year. But I want to know your thoughts on the 35th anniversary, and you know, what do you think they're gonna do with it when it comes to Zelda? For this one, I'm gonna throw it back to Rebecca first.
Yeah, they kind of crushed my hopes a little bit when they showed that Game & Watch and said they don't have any other announcements planned for the rest of this year. I think that the wording that he used, something like that. But you're right, there were all these rumors swirling around Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, and I feel like those are the kind of games that are easy enough for them to bring over on a rainy day if they really need to. If you know they know that there's going to be a long time before, you know, another big new game comes out. So I feel like they probably do have those ready. I think there's some legitimacy to those being ready to go for the Switch if they want that to happen. But we might not see it if Breath of the Wild is ready for March, if it is ready for 22. If they think that there might be a delay where it could come out at the end of the year or maybe even 2023, that's when we might see those ports come over just to kind of tide us over. We might never see them if Breath of the Wild does come out as expected. You know, they could very well have these games and just not do anything with them, because why would they?
Well, because, you know, interestingly enough, I was on Nintendo Promise podcast yesterday, and then they brought up a really good point where, you know, only so many people had a Wii U, right? And
That's true.
I would love to play Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on the go and stuff. And there's, you know, other means to play these games. But, you know, when it comes to, like, the console itself, I feel like these games, you know, that'll be easy money for them to be brought back onto the Switch if they're going to do a combo pack. If not, we'll have to wait and see, you know, that whole spiel. But, Conrad, what do you think about the 35th anniversary so far and, you know, their plans?
Well, I think we're not going to hear anything until Skyward Sword HD is out. That's for
Which
sure.
is next month, so...
They haven't revealed the logo
man.
of the anniversary, so it's obvious that they're holding something back. They're holding the title of the sequel to The Legend of Zelda back. They are holding back the reveal of the logo, which was first revealed for the 30th anniversary in September. So I have a feeling that, of course, it depends on the launch of the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as we talked about. Because if that is a November game, then they might as well just do March and have that fill in that slot, since we already have Age of Calamity DLC Pack 2 coming out in November. So that is that's another argument that could be brought in. But then again, most people who are going to get the DLC already bought the DLC with the DLC Pack 1. So I have more of a feeling that I think we could still see Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD And I'm still not losing hope that they might do the Miitopia treatment for Ocarina of Time from the 3DS to the Switch. Because
I would love that.
imagine this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
We play for Skyward Sword, the beginning of the timeline. Ocarina of Time, the timeline split. Then we go through the other two Ganondorf games, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. What have you done? You've built up the entire story that leads into the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, if Breath of the Wild sequel is March 2022, this holiday we're getting the Triforce Collection. Ocarina of Time 3D may be sold separately because of the whole Miitopia treatment thing, that is going to make it a $50 experience, and then having Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD bundled together. That is the best case scenario, obviously. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to happen, though.
Right. I feel that sentiment. And, you know, I would just love to play Ocarina of Time for like the 50 millionth time and see it in HD. But I know a lot of people are going to be feeling a type of ways like, oh, why are you doing this when you could be doing that? I'm like, listen, the more Zelda, the better. But when it comes to the 35th anniversary plans and ideas, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Alex. What do you think about that?
The whole problem, not problem, just the whole topic about it just draws back to the placement of Skyward Sword HD is released, because coming out literally next month makes it a little hard to like figure out the plan for Zelda releases in the next fiasco year. So yeah, I was right to believe that my thought was they don't want to jeopardize the sales for Skyward Sword, because it already did so bad in its first release in 2011. They don't want this game to flop again for a 3D Zelda game, no less, a second time. And I'm really, really hopeful that Skyward Sword does way better on the Switch.
Oh, I think so, and you guys need to play that game. But like, you know, I understand why people are like, you know, mad at the price. That's a whole other conversation that I don't want to have because I want to keep things positive. But you guys should definitely play Skyward Sword because it's an amazing game. Do not do like people say, oh, Skyward Sword is bad. I'm like, listen, don't get your information from memes when it comes to Skyward Sword HD, because it's a good game. It's actually my third favorite Zelda game after Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. But I'm gonna throw it over to Monster Maze on what you think about the 35th anniversary.
Oh wait, I still have stuff to say.
All right, no, yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be brief on it too. But like, it's just like the whole thing about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker coming to Switch, about what insiders say about that. No one, I don't think, specified when it's coming or when it's announced. Only that it will eventually happen. I'm kind of inclined to agree with everybody else that like it's probably almost certainly ready to be sent out. It's just, you know, find the right time to properly announce it so sales don't jeopardize other Zelda games or whatnot. It may not be released for an anniversary celebration like Anuma implied. So I'm gonna theorize that they'll probably just save it for like maybe a holiday release for you know, a safety bet, or save it until February, maybe then to properly, you know, celebrate Zelda in its birthday month. I don't know. Right. You know, just to make time between July and early March, early 22, and then Breath of the Wild 2 for possible late 2022 to bridge that gap a little bit. But you don't need. But yeah, you don't need a specific Zelda game or whatever to solely just to celebrate an anniversary. I prefer that because that way it doesn't be treated as like a limited release. That's the one good thing about an anniversary not being possible, because like that way you don't have to worry about, you know, a limited kind of marketing thing. Like
I don't know what they were thinking with the Mario 3D collection, bro. Like that was out of whack. All right, Monster Maze is on you now.
My take is maybe a little bit more of a downer, but I think there might be a chance that we just don't really get anything for the anniversary. Maybe we've put too much value on it, or maybe Nintendo is also just, because if I'm correct, I'm not sure about this, but isn't it also the anniversary for Metroid and Pokemon this year as well?
Right.
Like maybe there's
Donkey Kong's 40th.
Yeah, Donkey Kong as well. There might just be too many anniversaries this year. Like, Mario was lucky to have his in his own like year, even though it was a terrible year for gaming. But you know. But yeah, maybe we as fans hold a little bit too much value to those whole like you don't need. To be honest, Scott, at least to me, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker should already be on the Switch. You don't need an anniversary for that. It's a port. They can literally port it over. I don't know why. Yeah, they've already been ported. They don't even have to do anything. They don't have to reprogram. Maybe take out the stamps because there's no more Miiverse.
Right.
Stuff like that, and the Tingle bottle and stuff. But other than that, they don't really have to do much. I would much rather see the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like upscaled, put onto Switch. That would be amazing.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, maybe Breath of the Wild 2 news is our anniversary gift, and they're gonna drip feed it all across the next, like the upcoming months, all the way until the end of the year.
I would love that. You know, kind of like how they're drip feeding us up until the release of Breath of the Wild 1, bro. Just.
Or Age of Calamity was also a good example. Like almost weekly news at some point, they were like revealing little things, and I like that. It's like every week you have something to look forward to.
Right. And then on the heels of the 35th anniversary, I want to get your thoughts on that, Bandit. What do you think?
So, specifically, the question is, like, are we getting more than what they announced, or?
Yeah, do you think they're going to celebrate the 35th anniversary in any way that they aren't doing right now? Like, do you think we're going to get a celebration, and if so, like, how are they going to celebrate it?
I mean, personally, seeing as it was kind of a struggle for them to get us Breath of the Wild 2 news, you know, I don't think. Yeah, and I don't mean that to be like insulting to them or anything like that. I just, you know, I think that they've got their hands tied, and yeah, no, I don't think we're going to see anything else. I kind of agree with what Monster Mace said, actually. You know, what is an anniversary, really? Especially like 3.5. You know, 4.0 is a lot more special, in my opinion. I think we're focused on it because, you know, Mario obviously had, you know, a big 35th. And so we're kind of, a big 35th. Yeah. But I mean, like, at least it was announced and there was, you know, stuff that happened for it. And they had the Mario 3D collection.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, you know, people were obviously saying, hey, if they had, like, a Zelda 3D collection for the Switch, that'd be fantastic. Definitely. You know, just bundle them together and just throw them out there for Zelda 35. All of the signs point towards, like, hey, they should do that because they did that for Mario. You know, Galaxy 2 doesn't exist apparently, but anyway, that's besides the point.
Right.
I don't think it would happen. That doesn't mean I don't think it'd be nice if it did happen, but no, I don't think it'll happen.
Right. Alex, you want to make a point? I saw you there.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in on that too. I think we're just fixated on the whole thing because they've celebrated Zelda's anniversaries the past 5 years.
25 and 30.
Yeah, 25th anniversary. So it just seemed natural to assume that they're going to do the same thing again for the 30th anniversary.
That's true.
Maybe not on a big capacity because, you know, we're still kind of like in a rough place right now. Maybe we'll just have to wait another 5 years. Whatever, that's fine.
Right.
But yeah.
We'll get the Game & Watch in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know, for me, right I don't really need, like, games and stuff. I just want, like, merch and shirts and books. Like, that's what I need. You know, I would love a
giant poster.
Oh yeah,
giant unique art Zelda 35 again, right there. No, right there.
I mean, they technically did release Zelda 35th art, but it is, but it isn't. It's really nice too. I don't know if you guys actually saw it.
Was it that one that was the Smash 4 Link in the Ocarina of Time pose?
No. Oh, okay. It was the one. It was like the gold, black, and gray Triforce that showed Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf in it.
It's really nice.
It's really nice.
Oh, no, I have seen that.
Yeah.
And they're black and white, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the
really
Twilight
nice.
the Twilight Princess style. And I'm like, dude, that's...
It's a good game.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
I want a shirt of that or a poster.
I want a poster. I want a shirt. Please, that.
It's frustrating because we want to give them money, but they're not giving us stuff to let us
Don't you like
money.
money, Nintendo?
He's just throwing it.
It's like,
Are we
yo, get
forgetting
out
what-
of your
okay,
own
so-
way. Like, but yeah, go ahead, Conrad.
Are we forgetting that we are going to spend hundreds of dollars on Skyward Sword HD to get the Joy-Cons,
respect
amiibo,
that.
and if you are in Europe, that steelbook case on top of that.
I'm so mad. You know what? You know what we get in America? We get that poster. I have it already. That poster. Oh, but you can.
GameStop exclusive.
Yeah, the GameStop. I have that poster already. It's like, oh, you can see Link's feet. No, it's
But,
not. It's the same art. Ah, bro.
Well, it was
Like,
its old art that wasn't made like specifically
Yeah.
for the release.
I
My
wish they
lord.
came up with something new. Can't they just come up with some kind of new art? I don't like that they're reusing it.
jeez.
We'll do it ourselves.
Exactly. And the chat's like, there's a steelbook case. Yeah, in Europe. Like,
You
I-
always
send one
import
over.
it.
yeah, please send one. That it looks so good. Please, someone, please, thank you. But
Yeah, we'll
uh,
show up at
I'm
Conrad's
gonna be
house.
back
or-
in 5 minutes, by the way, or 2 minutes.
all right,
something
yeah,
like
no
that.
problem. But with all that, you know, encapsulating and stuff with E3 and whatnot, of course, this conversation is gonna keep going until Monster Maze gets back, and he'll know the spiel that we're going off about. A little off the tangent when it comes to Zelda, but you know, focusing on E3, other than Breath of the Wild 2, because we're all, you know, Zelda nuts here. What was the reveal at Nintendo's show that was, you know, up there with Breath of the Wild 2? For me, as much I like Bandit, I already know you're making a face. I know what you're gonna say.
I mean, yes,
But-
of course.
For me, look, listen. I am a Metroid fan, and I'm so glad that Metroid 5 and Dread is coming out. I understand, and I love Samus Returns is actually one of my favorite 3DS games ever. They like Mercury Steam worked magic with Metroid 2 because Metroid 2 kind of sucked. But you know, as much as I love Metroid Dread, and I already got the special edition confirmed and everything, I'm sorry, like Kazuya was a big deal for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I finally found someone that's excited about Kazuya.
Wow, I'm so mad. I'm like, bro, go play Tekken. Like, I saw like everyone's like, oh, who's Kazuya? A no-name character brawler. And I'm like, you? How dare you disrespect the king
No,
of the
no,
Iron
no.
Fist? Like, no.
I've heard of Kazuya. I've never played
Um,
Tekken. I've heard of Kazuya. Like that was very when that revealed. That was very like my reaction was like, okay. I was like, oh, cool. I
was
will
mine.
admit though, my first thought was, oh, another fighter character in the exact same style that people say, oh, another sword character. I was just kind of like, oh, cool. Now I'm sorry. I know I'm sorry. But
Yeah, because you
I gotta
probably
clap back.
want another Scrimblow Bimblow. I'm like, man, just
Actually, I just want them to give me an Ocarina of Time skin on Link. That's it. That's all I want.
That would be nah.
Bring
That
back
would
the
be
locks,
nice.
man.
Yeah, that would be nice. But I mean, like, we moved past that point. And yes,
We moved past.
I see that in the chat, guys. I know it's like I pronounce it both ways. It's Kazuya, but I say Kazuya sometimes, but it's Kazuya, right? So,
Kazuya.
man, that just like I was like the way they started off with that, and I mained him in Tekken, and I just like, and I felt it was so overdue for a Tekken or a Bandai Namco rep to be in Smash, and like I'm kind of sad it's not Hayachi, because I thought Hayachi would like basically is like the face of Tekken up until 7 spoilers. But you know, Kazuya was the protagonist since the first Tekken, and then became the antagonist as time went on. You know, like he didn't die. Like you either die as a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
A good quote.
Yeah.
Dude, the foreshadowing with Ganondorf was epic.
No,
It
I
was epic.
want to talk about that for a little bit. I was
Yeah.
actually losing my mind, and I thought they opened with Breath of the Wild 2, and I saw like Ocarina style Ganondorf, and I'm like, listen, my brain just put two and two
Rehydrated,
together, like
yeah.
not just rehydrate, but like a lost moment in time that showed what they did with Ganondorf's body, and they like, oh, that's his vengeance, and then. When I saw the volcano, I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is Tekken. Oh, this Smash. But when I saw the Ganondorf body, I'm like, wait a minute, nah, you can't be doing that.
I
Like,
think
Have
everybody
you
thought
seen-
that for a split second.
yeah,
Have you seen a comparison between it and the, Ganondorf cracking his neck back in the first Breath of the Wild 2 trailer?
yeah,
It's the angling is very, very similar.
yep,
Yeah.
man. But I like I had to laugh at myself a little bit, but I'm glad that
You probably had a real good time, man.
Oh.
Went from thinking that to what is it? Kazuya, whatever.
Yeah, Kazuya, one of my favorite characters ever. Going
Went
from
from
that
good
to
to
that,
better.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. But since you're already popping off and stuff, and I'm after you, I'm gonna throw over to Conrad. But I know that you're popping off, so I mean, I already know your answer. But Bandit, what was your favorite thing other than Breath of the Wild 2 at Nintendo's show?
So I like that you directed that to Bandit, but let me just speak on behalf of everybody. It was Metroid Dread. I'm just kidding. No, Dread was, dude. Dread. I was screaming, like I was so hyped, and it's the first brand new Metroid game in 19 years. Like they keep saying, but like that's a big freaking deal.
Yes,
There are
amazing.
entire franchises that did not exist 19 years ago, that drew from Metroid, and now Metroid's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a comeback. So I'm all over it. They already have my money. They already got my money, actually.
Yeah, I got the
immediately.
special edition already. I'm pretty sure everyone here
Yep.
probably pre-ordered that shit
Yep.
too. Man, I can't believe that. But
Looks so good, and her suit, man.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, I have to stop because
no,
I'll just
you're
take up the rest of the
no,
time.
you're good. It's just that I really like the aesthetic because I know that you're gonna go in the aesthetic for Metroid Dread. I love the like the red, like how red it could be and how like off white it could be. I'm like, that's a really nice. It's really clean. It's really
It looks
ominous.
clean.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
So off that rails, Conrad, what was your favorite? Like I already know what it is, but go ahead and tell me your hype. Yeah, there it is.
I approve,
okay.
Conrad.
To understand the whole Metroid Dread saga, you need to realize that there's not been a new 2D Metroid for 19 years. And Dread was first leaked 17 years ago. So
Yep.
imagine that we got the reveal of Breath of the Wild sequel after Breath of the Wild, because this is the same case about being a sequel to Metroid Fusion, the last game in the Metroid timeline before Metroid Dread. So imagine that you end up in a situation where, we see Breath of the Wild sequel like now, and then we don't see it again for 10, 15 years. And then it shows up again. That's how big of a deal it is for Metroid fans. And for, even though, yes, the Metroid fan base, all Metroid games combined have sold less than Breath of the Wild. And that is a fact. So
Yep.
I'm just going to say this is the big hope, but also maybe also the last chance for Metroid to convince Nintendo that they should continue this franchise.
Right.
Because if this game doesn't sell 3 million copies or more, I think it's over, at least for 2D Metroid. Because
Right.
they're ending the 2D timeline, and Metroid Prime 4, which we got, it's in development, it's all good, and so on. That is the last game in the Metroid Prime chronology of games. So if none of these games sell well, I think we conclude the story of Metroid, we're ready to move on, and we want to give another IP or franchise the chance instead of Metroid. So buy Metroid Dread if you want to keep Metroid alive.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Please, guys.
And they said on the website. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
They
go-
said
no,
on the
go ahead.
website for Dread that it is the end of Samus's relationship with the Metroids.
Yeah, we're gonna destroy all Metroids.
Yeah, lore-wise,
It's a big
I don't
deal.
think anything. Yeah, it's a big freaking deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, guys, you need to understand, like, that meme from Avengers Endgame is so real. Like, when you guys play hanky-panky with certain game franchises, especially with Nintendo, it's like, yo, if this doesn't work, like, you're not coming back. Like, that's, like, the case in point. I see people in the chat saying, oh, I don't think Nintendo works with that. Oh, yeah, tell me about F-Zero, and tell me about Star Fox. Like, literally, Zero came out.
You can't say that anymore because they're bringing back Advance Wars, so you can't say that a franchise is dead anymore.
Advance Wars is a remake, and also it never sold badly. It's just that, like, why would I play Advance Wars when I could play why would I play Fire Emblem? And then now that Fire Emblem is in the spotlight again, it's like,
They
okay,
didn't
maybe
have to do that, though. They didn't have to do that. And I think that the fact that they're bringing back... And I think Metroid Dread is special. That's definitely my
Right.
answer. I'm cutting in here.
No, go for it. Go for
Definitely
it.
what I'm getting excited about, too. The fact that they are bringing, there's something special about the history here with this project, and like you were saying, they're bringing it back after 17 years, since we heard about it. The fact that they're willing to do that and something that they don't have to do. They could have made a totally original Metroid game if they wanted to, and you're right, it doesn't historically sell well, but I feel like they still consider it to be one of their main franchises that they're going to continue. It might not be the kind of seller that, Zelda is, that Smash Bros. Is. It might not be one of those 10 million sales types of games, but it shows that they're still willing to develop for it. And they will still bring back old ones if they, I think, have the ideas for it or think that, it's the right time, as we saw with Advance Wars.
Man, it's just funny how, I can't believe that Nintendo actually came through for Metroid fans on the 35th anniversary with a new game that's actually coming out this year. That's insane. But I'm glad. Trust me, I'm glad Advance Wars is back as a Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake package and whatnot. I would just really like if they brought back F-Zero, if they brought back Star Fox that isn't 64 again. Because man, I don't know what's up with Nintendo with just remaking, re-releasing 64. Zero's not 64. I'm like, it is. And then 64 in itself is a remake of 1, and I want these franchises to come back. And then people are like, I see in the chat that people are talking about Mother 3 and whatnot, which went through developmental hell and back. But hey, Dread was able to come out of the garbage can, because that game, if you guys don't know the history of Dread, that game was in development back on the DS years ago, and it got canceled and it got revived after Nintendo saw what Mercury Steam could do with Metroid on the Switch. And I just hope the game does sell well. I really do. But let's throw it over to Monster Maze. We're talking about your most hyped thing, other than Breath of the Wild 2, at this year's Nintendo. And as you can see, a lot of people are talking about Metroid Dread, even though Kazuya is in Smash.
Metroid is one of those. Metroid is one of those franchises that it's still on my to-do list, because I didn't grow up with the games. It's one of those games I just missed out on. So I'm extremely happy for Metroid fans. I love seeing the enthusiasm, how happy people are. It didn't have that impact on me because of that, because I want to go back and play all the other games first, or else I'm not going to understand the importance and the story of it, maybe. And so I was also kind of hyped about WarioWare, to be honest.
Absolutely.
That's
also
fair. That's
really
fair, bro.
that.
That's actually a big deal. I'm like, yo, a new WarioWare, let's go. Come on.
I love
Yeah.
the original
WarioWare.
ones. Yeah. So that one was just a very fun little surprise. Not a big Tekken guy, but again, I think it makes sense for him to be in the game. Now all we need is a Mortal Kombat character, and then we're pretty much we have all the
over
fighting
here.
representatives. Yeah.
I mean, I love Mortal Kombat, but it's gonna be so weird if a Mortal Kombat character like Scorpion or Sub-Zero gets announced. It'll be so weird for Sakurai to have his presentation and he's like, oh, this is what Mortal Kombat's about, and then he talks about it and it's just censored.
I know they're always stabbing through people's eyes and sawing
that's
people
true.
in half, stuff like that.
Definitely.
It would have to be Kitty version. That'd be hilarious if they had kitty gloves on Scorpion or something like that. It'd be hilarious.
Nah, literally just Sakurai playing with 2 dolls and just okay, so there's Mortal Kombat. That's it.
Smash is the game for good little boys and girls.
Exactly. So throwing it over to Alex, what were you hyped up the most other than Breath of the Wild 2?
Okay, there was way too many things I love so much. This was a direct made for a lot of people at my age, or age range roughly, because there were some huge hitters. So this is a personal one for me, because I'm gonna be selfish, because I loved WarioWare. It was great. Metroid Dread is amazing. I'm super happy for Metroid fans. Advance Wars got the biggest vocal reaction from me, because I was not expecting Advance Wars. So I'm happy for Advance Wars fans. I'm gonna try it out too.
Right.
But for me, I am super happy that I get to play Danganronpa on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
So I am super happy about that. And I get the Summer Camp game as well. So I got a 4-in-1 deal coming my way. So, yeah.
Man,
I'm happy about
I
that.
saw people popping up for that. It's Danganronpa Decadence, right? That's the
Yeah.
compilation. Oh, I was
Yeah.
seeing that, and I'm like, man, that. I'm glad that Danganronpa fans are eating because I always see memes and pictures from the games. And I'm like, yo, I have no idea what's going on, and I'm
Play
heard,
it.
like it's like you know someone told me it's like, okay, so you know what Persona is? I'm like, yeah, like this is the way to like, oh, let me explain it to you super easily. It's Persona meets Among Us, and I'm like, but isn't that Persona 4? And I'm like, but it's like, it's. I've been told it's weird to explain. I might give it a shot since it's coming to the Switch, but I'm really excited about that. But it's funny how none of y'all were talking about another huge game that's a big deal, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like, so I guess that's not really on any of y'all's radars.
Over there with Kazuya.
Listen, I'm about to delete this, man.
I
Like,
respect Shin Megami Tensei, but I just don't play the game series at all. I should try it.
right, man, because the thing is, Persona 5 has been getting really, really popular in recent years, and the most successful game in the Megami Tensei overarching franchise. It would not. So, I mean, since this game is exclusive to the Switch, if you guys enjoyed Persona 5 at the very least, I feel like you should give this one a shot. From what I heard, but I heard that, you know, Shin Megami or SMT5 or the SMT series is a lot harder than Persona, which is fine and understandable. But I'm definitely gonna give it a shot after, because I played Persona 5 for the first time ever, like last year, and I loved that game. I see where all the hype is coming. Has any of y'all played Persona 5?
No.
All right. Okay, cool.
I've always wanted to.
The
but,
fact
yeah.
that I didn't even know that those two universes were connected, the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. I know the old Megami Tensei, like
Yeah.
the really old school ones from the 80s.
Yeah. So, like, Persona is actually a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. Because when the
Okay.
Persona series started, it was Shin Megami Tensei Persona. And then Shin Megami Tensei Persona 2. Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3. And then it broke off
Okay.
into its own thing. It's like basically the Rayman and Rabbids situation. So, like, you know, it
Okay.
became bigger than where it came from type shit. But if any of y'all get the chance, I'm telling you right now, that game is magical, man. I really did not. I was smiling ear to ear the whole time, and I haven't played a new game that I've never played in my life that was that fun in years. So I don't know. That's my Persona 5 tangent. But running off the all right, Connor, you had something to say?
I have one more game that I'm surprised no one has mentioned even, because it's one of Nintendo's biggest sellers out there.
Oh yes,
Yeah, the 64 stuff.
Yo,
I love Mario Party 1, 2, and 3.
I'm
and
excited for
getting
that.
mini games of that and boards. Oh,
Yo, I'm tired of that
Amazing.
stupid go-kart thing. I'm tired of these boards from Super Mario Party that's like this small. I'm so hyped for Mario Party Superstars.
Yeah.
That's my kick.
Absolutely.
It's basically all the best parts of Mario Party.
Man. But yeah,
So much money.
oh, easily so much money. And
Spending
then
so much money.
Super Mario Party sold stupid well on the Switch. I'm surprised it sold that well. Like
This one will sell more, probably.
Oh, definitely.
Personally, I bought it twice.
Why?
Once for me and once for my girlfriend.
Oh, okay, all right. Understandable. I just like, you know, I thought we were like one of those, because I don't know if you guys know, but I legit have like 5 copies of Breath of the Wild just sitting back there. And then my fiance and my friends like, why do you have 5 copies of the game? I'm like, because they kept releasing different versions of them, so I
So just
like I
keep
need
buying
them.
them.
Like, so it's
if
funny.
you want a sense of scale when it comes to popularity of this game, they have sold almost 15 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. So I could definitely see that this game is gonna sell in the ballpark of that, and I'm just, man, I love that. I love that. Yo, this direct was so good. Anyone who is saying that the direct was bad is capping, bro. Shin Megami Tensei, knew the Mario Party 1, 2, and 3 like revitalization, Super Monkey Ball. Like there are so many things in this.
Oh,
Man,
yes.
that's crazy. I
Did
love
anybody
this
else?
direct.
Anybody else see the bananas and think DK40?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before
Yeah.
I saw the 20th anniversary, it didn't
Right.
quite click. I'm like, bananas, Donkey Kong.
I would have if I didn't see that Super Monkey Ball didn't
Yeah.
leak the day before.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. That's true.
Mm.
I would.
Curse
I would.
those
Funny.
leaks.
It's funny how this fall went from having basically no Switch releases, like I think we knew about Pokemon was coming out, to now like every month there's something coming out and we're spending all this money.
Great.
I mean, it
money.
just goes
Yeah.
to show you that they had it in mind, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
Yeah, and
funny
I'm pretty
because wasn't that leak going around that apparently a new Donkey Kong was going to be announced at E3 and it didn't happen? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
so where's
Well-
the EA Day Donkey Kong, man? Where that?
I'm pretty sure they're saving some of their ammunition for later this year as well. I don't think they wanted to show anything because I'm also still waiting for that Monolith IP.
That's right.
Yeah.
We didn't get anything Xenoblade
Yeah.
related. I was kind of sad about that. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
expecting
yeah.
like Xenoblade 3 or maybe. Well, I hope it's not a port of X, but you know, at least something, you know. But
Right.
there was nothing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still saving some stuff, and like with Xenoblade, it's also possible that it could release way sooner, maybe even before Breath of the Wild 2, because you know Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was announced in 2017 E3, I believe, and it released that same year in November.
Yeah.
So usually they have a very different like announcement release cycle than, for instance, a Zelda game where it can take up to 2 to 3 years before they finally. Before they get the ball rolling.
Exactly. And then, but one other thing we have to consider is that Monolith has been taking a lot of the brunt of helping development of all these other games and stuff. So I mean, like that kind of tells us like where is their game right now stand in development, that they have to be helping with everybody else. They are helping with Breath of the Wild 2. They had to help with Animal Crossing New Horizons and whatnot. And then there's probably other projects that they're helping with as well. So.
They've also been hiring like crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Man. But to end off this stream, because this has been an amazing stream, I'm gonna go around the table really quick, asking y'all, when do you guys think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again? For this one, I'm gonna start with Alex first, and then go around the room like that. So Alex, when do you think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again?
I hope for September, maybe, just because I want to be a little hopeful there. But I think a safe bet again is going to be the Game Awards. Probably then. Because you'll have a big gathering of gamers online watching, and it's going to probably be like a huge occasion. Appropriate, you know.
Right.
For a game like that, yeah. So, and plus, you know, I'm sure Jeff would be very happy about showing off new Zelda's content.
All right, but like, the Game Awards is so far away. My personal take is that I feel it could happen anytime, almost ASAP after Skyward Sword releases.
Yeah.
You know, my guts tell me that we might get an August Direct, right? And then we could see more stuff there. But I want to know what you think, Monster Maze. When do you think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again?
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with you. What you said. I don't think it's gonna show up obviously before Skyward Sword. They also probably want to give that game some room to do its thing,
Right.
even after its release, you know. But like late August, early September, yeah, I definitely see that happening. I think we said this on the previous Fifth Dimension stream as well. I think once that cat is out of the bag, they're gonna, especially with what Bill Trinan said in that interview, where it's like we're gonna, as we show you more stuff about the game in the coming months into the new year, that kind of hints at that they will show more than. But yeah, I mean, if it's Game Awards, it's also fine. But I'm kind of hoping they will do something similar to Age of Calamity, where they will show something on a maybe monthly, maybe even if it's small little things, you know,
Right.
just stuff to talk about. Because the new trailer, it was very awesome, but it's left a lot of questions, more questions than answers, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean that they love conversation. So whenever you guys see like anyone like in the chat or is watching, whenever you see one of us or any other person theorizing about Zelda and stuff, and you're asking why we do it, I'm like, hey, listen, Nintendo loves us doing it. They said before, and of course, theorizing, speculating, it creates conversation, and conversation converts into money. So, like, you know,
Look at FNAF.
don't rain on our parades. Thanks. Like,
It's also what makes the Zelda community so unique, in my opinion, because I have never seen any game that has this much theorizing and where there's like a whole community around that. Like, go on YouTube, type in like Horizon Zero Dawn theories. You're gonna find like 5 videos.
right.
Zelda's very unique in that way, and it's so much fun too.
Yep. And when I meant money, I didn't mean for us. I meant for Nintendo, because like when people talk about the games, it converts into sales of said game. So, Mass Nintendo Bandit, when do you think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again?
Well, anytime, I guess. I was gonna say my first instinct is to say like a September Direct, kind of like Alex was saying. Have they historically done September Directs more often than other months? I feel like I've heard September Direct. Or maybe there was just a really big one at one point and I heard it a lot. But anyway.
There's one that happened, but I don't know if it's like a consistent thing that they do September Directs. October,
I see.
Probably. You know.
October, yeah. Usually they wait until after the summer because a lot of people are on holiday or like on, it's not a very good time.
Yeah, for sure. And like Zelda's going to be booming next month again with the release of Skyward Sword HD.
Yep.
And like you were just saying, Nintendo capitalizes on chatter, having people theorize about stuff, making really obscure trailers, So I think that if they're going to give us a sneak peek at something else, I mean, why not? Just ride the on the tails of the sales of Skyward Sword HD.
Definitely. I felt that they want to try and keep the conversation hot, and they want to keep it, flowing and whatnot. Because of course we're still getting
like after the sales.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we're still getting Age of Calamity DLC after the June wave, which is happening this month, and then the one that's happening in November and whatnot. But I want to throw it over to Conrad. Conrad, when do you think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again?
I would like to say a Direct in September? Or October. One of those two. And I would love for it to be a Zelda 35th Anniversary Direct, just like Mario got. We have never had a Zelda Direct before, so it would be an incredible way to kind of bring everything there. Do another push for Skyward Sword HD, even after release. If they have the Triforce collection, then reveal it there. Push more of the Game & Watch thing. Age of Calamity DLC Pack 2, since it will be very close to that as well. And then obviously end off again with another Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. And I think maybe even reveal the title there, or save it for the Game Awards. I think that would be an even better plan and marketing strategy for Nintendo than just doing the Game Awards.
Right.
Because the Game Awards should be in addition to something. So that we're not going too far away from E3 to the Game Awards, because Game Awards worked really well in 2016 because we had seen snippets of it during the Nintendo Switch reveal in October. And it also worked because we had all of these postcards, Halloween with Breath of the Wild Link, Christmas.
That was a really
so
nice
on.
touch. Like, what do you call it? Valentine's Day and all that stuff. That was a really nice touch. I liked that a lot.
So I think Nintendo could do something similar like that, because they're replicating in many ways the strategy they used for Breath of the Wild. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do kind of, just have some trailers here, have some other concept art or marketing, merchandise maybe, and then you have a good balance of adding brand new footage and avoiding spoilers, but also feeding the lust of the Zelda fan base that is so hungry for more.
Exactly. That really just echoes what a lot of us are saying, just to keep that constant stream, that relevancy. I mean, of course, Breath of the Wild and Zelda is going to stay relevant probably forever. But to keep that relevancy, flowing with a good, nice scheduling of, to make you guys understand, like, hey, Breath of the Wild 2 is big and it's happening and whatnot. And for me, like, a name reveal, I feel a name reveal might come out, like, really soon to release. And whatnot. Well, not really, because I mean they're gonna have to market the game with the actual name at places and stuff and have posters out and whatnot. So maybe the Game Awards, maybe even a little before that. But Rebecca, so we're gonna end off with you. When do you think we're gonna see Breath of the Wild 2 again?
Yeah, I have to echo what a lot of you are saying, that I could see it appearing in that kind of September, October area direct. I could even see them holding off the name for that time and then presenting the name reveal at the Game Awards. That would be kind of a way to keep that hype going for even longer, keeping people guessing, because as we said earlier, they really want that name to be kind of a secret. So I could see that being like its own like really big reveal at the Game Awards. But I think we would get something sooner than that. But I do want to say, though, that I think when we do see it next will kind of be an indicator of when the game will release. If we don't see it, until the Game Awards, it might not be coming out as early as March like we're hoping, because there has to be kind of that whole build up, the whole marketing cycle. Usually they have at least a half a year leading up to when it will release. So I think if we don't see it September, October, we might start feeling a little bit pessimistic towards a March release. Might be towards the end of the year. But if we do see it September, that could mean it's coming 6 months later in March. That would be my thoughts about it.
Definitely. I feel that's we have a really good roundup of what we can expect, and I don't think it's way too wild that we're thinking that we could get a name here or more information there. It's just that I feel that once Skyward Sword is out of the way, and I will, at maximum, I will give it a month that Nintendo would want to wait and do something, especially because if when a game sells within a month, that's a good idea of how much it might sell for its lifetime. If there's not anything else they're planning to do with the game's promotion, and it's Skyward Sword HD that we're talking about. So after a month, I feel the floodgates are really going to open up in what Nintendo wants to do, because we also have to remember that if we do get a Zelda Direct, or if we do get more information about Breath of the Wild 2, they're probably more than likely going to want to try and package the information of Age of Calamity's final DLC alongside an announcement of Breath of the Wild 2 in order to give that good I would say overall feel, in order to hey, Age of Calamity, here it is, but then also we got Breath of the Wild 2 for those that want to continue their adventures through this familiar land of Hyrule. But yeah, guys, I had a ton of fun, and I hope you guys did too. And this has been the Fifth Dimension with Conrad, Rebecca, Mass Nintendo Bandit, Monster Maze, Alex of Zelda Universe, and I hope you guys had a good time here as well.
For sure.
It was great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
awesome.
Great. A lot of fun.
Sorry, I thought that was for the chat.
Oh no! I said the one for the chat before, and I was just I was looking at you. So
I gotcha.
So if you guys want to check out their channels or whatnot, I'm gonna let them go around the room of where you can find what they like to do when it comes to Zelda and beyond. We're gonna start off with Rebecca, and then we're gonna go to Conrad, then we're gonna go to Mass Nintendo Bandit, then we're gonna go Monster Maze, and then we're gonna go with Alex, and then afterwards we're gonna send you guys off into another stream from those that are within the Fifth Dimension. So Rebecca, take it away. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I am Forest Minish on Twitter and on Twitch. I do stream. I am talking all about Nintendo and Zelda stuff on Twitter all the time. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Nintendo Shack podcast, where I talk about Zelda and Nintendo all the time. And I'm a staff writer at twinfinite.net.
Nice. Conrad?
Well, you can find me at Commonwealth Realm on YouTube, talking mostly about Zelda there as well, theories, speculation, the whole Inside Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 series that has now been going on for 2 years, and will be going on because we still don't have the different title. And you can also find me on Twitter at Common Realm.
Nice. All right, Bandit, take it away.
Well, you can find me at Bandit Nintendo on Twitter, or you can find me also the same handle on Instagram. Nope, I got that wrong. I don't even know my own social medias. You can find me at Masked Nintendo Bandit on YouTube and all the other social medias like Instagram.
Nice.
Where I post literally random stuff.
Nah, not too random. But Monster Maze, what about you?
I'm actually glad, Bandit, that you... I thought I was the only one who didn't know his own Twitter handle.
Dude, I'm bad at that.
Yeah, me too. You can find me on Twitter at Monster Maze YT, and on YouTube, Monster Maze. I make kind of Zelda mini documentaries. I pride myself with my production quality most. I'm
It's excellent.
I'm kind of I'm not a very fast uploader, but when it comes out, it's usually there's a lot of effort put into it. So,
And
it's my strong point.
It's always amazing, man. When I need that extra oomph, that extra help, I was all like,
amazing.
I was like, yo, Monster Maze, you're free, help! Like,
Dude, I legit almost reached out to you today for an edit, but I didn't because I was like, no, I'm gonna do it myself.
Good on you, man.
And then
We'll see.
ending
Yeah,
off
future.
with Alex from Zelda Universe. Let us know where we can find you.
Well, personally, I'm on Twitter, Trainer Trevino. You also find me, well, not me, but like you also find my stuff over on Zelda Universe on Twitter, slash Zelda Universe, YouTube, Zelda Universe, Instagram, Zelda Universe. All my content mostly revolves around doing fan dubs of Zelda games. We've done about like 7 or plus of them over the past 6 years now. We just finished Breath of the Wild, actually, and that's been a huge project I'm glad it's finally done with, because it was a lot.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Nice.
you.
All right, guys. So I hope you liked this episode of Fifth Dimension. It will go up on YouTube tomorrow. And before I toss y'all to the wind, we are going to go ahead and raid a really good friend of mine. You might have heard her work before when it comes to certain video games. I am talking about the one and only Erica Harlecker, who is currently streaming Genshin Impact. And Genshin Impact is, not too far off from, Breath of the Wilds and whatnot. So let's go ahead and show her our love and whatnot. And until the next episode, hopefully I'll go again next week on Friday. So until then, dive deep, be brave, and never forget to enter the fifth dimension. This has been HMK and pals, and we will check you guys later.